All right, so today we're going to be diving into a topic that I think is pretty important for any new business, and that's cash flow.
Yeah.
And we're going to be using this great article called Common Cash Flow Problems as our guide. And it's pretty awesome, actually. It's got some really real-world scenarios that I think we can all relate to.
Yeah, it does.
So, yeah, let's get into it.
Sounds good.
Um, so the article kind of starts out talking about, like, what it calls the perils of the unexpected.
Right.
It basically is saying, like, it's super easy to get caught up in all the excitement of starting a new business and kind of missing some of the financial red flags, so to speak.
Yeah.
What do you think about, like, why these cash flow problems are so common for new business owners?
Well, I think sometimes passion can cloud our judgment a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We get really excited about our product or service, and maybe sometimes we overlook some of the financial realities,
Right.
especially if it's the first time that somebody's starting a business. They just don't
It's
know.
like that saying, you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly. And the article breaks it down into 5 key areas where those pitfalls typically are.
Okay, let's unpack those. So first up is underestimating startup costs.
Hmm.
And the article uses a bakery as an example,
Oh, yeah.
which I love because I love bakeries.
Me too.
Hmm.
You might have the perfect recipe for sourdough bread, but without factoring in the cost of permits and marketing and even delivery costs for ingredients,
Oh, right.
that dream bakery could crumble before you even open the doors.
Yes, that's true.
And a lot of people, especially new business owners, they just assume that word of mouth is going to be enough. But
Right.
in today's competitive market, you really need to have a strategic marketing budget in order to get visibility.
Yeah, for sure. So it's really about looking beyond just like the obvious expenses.
For sure.
What about the second problem?
Slow customer payments.
Ooh, that's a good one.
This is a big one.
Yeah.
So imagine you're a freelance web designer
Well-
and you've just landed this big project. You complete the work, you send the invoice, and then crickets.
Yeah, been there.
You're waiting 60 days or more for payment. This is incredibly common
Wow.
for freelancers and solopreneurs, and it can really put a strain on your cash flow.
Yeah, because it's almost like you're working a second job than trying to chase down those payments.
Right.
So like what's the solution there? Like you really got to have those contracts in place, right?
Absolutely. Having those contracts in place with very clear payment terms
Mm-hmm.
is crucial. You can even incentivize early payments with like a small discount.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, it's a win-win. You
Yeah.
get your money faster and the client gets a little bonus.
I like it.
Ah,
Okay, problem number 3. This one I think is a classic pitfall.
you're talking about overestimating revenue projections.
Yeah.
Right? It's easy to get caught up in best case scenarios,
Yeah.
thinking that everything's going to go perfectly.
Right.
And the article uses the example of a coffee shop that projected 500 customers a day, but only had 200 in those first few months.
Ouch. That's not good.
Yeah.
So how do you create realistic projections without like getting bogged down in all the pessimism? You know what I mean?
Right. Well, it's all about data,
Okay.
data-driven decision making,
Got it.
doing thorough market research.
Okay.
Analyzing your competitor pricing,
Yeah.
understanding local demographics. All of these things can help you paint a more realistic picture.
Yeah. It makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. So what is the next problem that the article highlights?
Excessive inventory.
Ah.
This is a common challenge for product-based businesses.
Okay.
So imagine you're a clothing store owner and you stock up on all the latest seasonal trends, but then sales are much slower than you anticipated. And now you're sitting on a mountain of unsold inventory and your capital is tied up in all this merchandise that's not moving.
Yeah. You got to find that balance between meeting the demand and not like ending up with a warehouse full of stuff you can't sell.
Exactly. And this is where understanding key metrics like your inventory turnover ratio becomes really important.
Yeah, I can see that.
That tells you how quickly your inventory is selling, which directly impacts your cash flow.
Makes total sense.
Ugh.
Okay. Last but not least, problem number 5.
Poor expense management.
Okay.
It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that you need all the bells and whistles when you're first starting out.
Right.
And the article mentions a tech startup that rented this lavish office space, only to realize later that it was a completely unnecessary expense.
Yeah. I feel like that's a pretty common scenario.
Yeah.
So how do you strike that balance between investing in your business
Yeah.
and keeping those expenses under control? Yeah, it's about being strategic, right?
Yeah,
Like prioritizing where you're putting that money.
exactly. And sometimes even a small cut can make a big difference over time,
Okay.
like canceling unnecessary software subscriptions or things like that.
Right, right. Okay, so we've kind of dug into like those 5 most common cash flow problems that new businesses face.
Uh-huh.
Now, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about solutions because I think we all want to know, like, what can we do about it?
Yeah.
I'm ready for some actionable advice here.
The good news is that the article gives us a roadmap.
Okay.
It's filled with really practical strategies that you can implement right away.
Love it. Okay, let's hear it. Solution number 1.
Creating a detailed budget and forecast.
Okay, this seems like a pretty fundamental step,
Yeah.
but I know a lot of people resist it.
Right.
Like, why is that?
Well, I think sometimes budgeting can feel kind of restrictive, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be. I like to think of it as a financial GPS for your business.
Oh, I like that.
It helps you anticipate your income and expenses so you can avoid those potential cash crunches.
So it's more about gaining control than limiting yourself.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that. And, you don't have to go it alone. There are tons of great tools out there like QuickBooks or Xero.
Yes.
Those are accounting software platforms, by the way, for anyone who doesn't know.
Right.
That can really help you with the budgeting and forecasting.
Absolutely. They can be real game changers.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
What about those clients that take like forever to pay their invoices? Like
Uh-huh.
how do we tackle that one?
Well, the article suggests a pretty simple but effective strategy: offer an early payment discount.
Okay.
Even a small discount can incentivize those clients to pay sooner.
Uh-huh.
Remember, time is money, especially when you're a new business.
Makes sense. A little incentive can go a long way.
Exactly. And of course, you want to make sure you have clear payment terms spelled out in your contracts.
Right.
Don't leave any room for ambiguity.
Right.
And, these days, you can even use technology to automate those invoice reminders.
Yeah.
So you're not spending all your time chasing people down.
It's like a set it and forget it type of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. I like it. So it's all about being really proactive and setting those clear expectations right from the start.
For sure.
Okay, what's our next solution?
Building a cash reserve.
Okay.
This might seem obvious, but it's surprising how many new businesses overlook this.
Really?
Yeah, they just don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
But having a financial cushion can be a real lifesaver, especially during those lean times or when unexpected expenses pop up.
Yeah, it's like having an emergency fund, but for your business.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the article recommends aiming for 3 to 6 months worth of operating expenses in your reserve.
Okay, so that's a good target to keep in mind.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about controlling expenses.
Yeah.
We talked about that tech startup that overspent on office space.
Right.
How can new businesses avoid falling into similar traps?
It's all about being mindful and asking the right questions. Every time you're considering an expense, ask yourself, does this directly contribute to generating revenue or driving business growth?
Uh-huh.
If the answer is no,
Yeah.
it might be time to rethink that expense.
So it's a constant evaluation process.
Right.
Okay.
You really want to prioritize those expenses that directly impact your bottom line.
Yeah.
Even small cuts like canceling unused subscriptions can add up to significant savings over time.
Yeah, especially in those early stages, every little bit counts, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so what about those businesses that are dealing with physical products? Like, how can they improve their inventory management?
Well, this is where data-driven decisions become super powerful.
Right.
The article highlights the importance of avoiding excessive inventory
Right.
and suggests considering a just-in-time or JIT inventory strategy.
Okay, can you break that down a little bit for us?
Sure, essentially you're only ordering stock when you need it based on actual demand.
Okay,
So this way you're not tying up all your cash in inventory that might not sell very quickly.
makes sense.
The article gives this great example of a bookstore that uses data to stock only their most popular titles.
Oh, yeah.
Which helps them reduce overstock and free up cash flow.
So it's about using data to predict demand and optimize your inventory levels.
Exactly.
Awesome. Okay, what's the final solution that the article offers?
Exploring alternative financing options.
Okay.
This could be anything from traditional bank loans and lines of credit to seeking investor funding. It's all about finding the right financing solution that aligns with your specific business needs and growth stage.
So there's no one-size-fits-all approach?
Not at all.
Got it.
The article gives an example of an online retailer that secured a short-term loan to invest in marketing.
Right.
And this strategic move actually helped them boost their sales and significantly improve their cash flow.
So it's a great example of how financing can really be used as like a strategic lever for growth.
Exactly.
Awesome. So we've covered a lot of ground here,
We have.
from understanding those common cash flow problems to exploring all these actionable solutions.
Yeah.
And now I hear that this article also offers some book recommendations for those who want to go even deeper.
It does. It's like a curated reading list for the financially curious.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, should we take a peek?
Let's do it.
All right, so let's dive into those book recommendations. The first one up is Profit First by Mike McCullovich. Have you heard of this one?
Oh, yeah, it's a classic for a reason.
Yeah, what makes it so great?
Well, it introduces this really simple but powerful concept of prioritizing profit from day one. It challenges that traditional formula of sales minus expenses equals profit
Right.
and kind of flips it on its head
Uh,
and says sales minus profit equals expenses.
so you're allocating that profit right from the start.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Instead of treating it as an afterthought,
Yeah.
you're baking it into your business model from the very beginning.
I like that. Okay, next on the list, we have a book that I feel like needs no introduction, The Lean Startup by Eric Ries. I feel like this one is on every entrepreneur's bookshelf.
It's a must-read
Yeah.
for anyone looking to build a sustainable business.
For sure.
And while it's not solely focused on cash flow,
Uh,
it really emphasizes building a business with minimal waste and maximum efficiency,
right.
which are principles that directly impact your financial well-being.
So it's about streamlining your operations and making every dollar count.
Exactly.
Okay, the third recommendation is Financial Intelligence for Entrepreneurs by Karen Berman and Joe Knight.
Oh, yeah.
This one sounds a bit more technical,
It is.
but in a good way, I think.
Yeah, definitely. It demystifies those financial statements,
Yeah. Hmm.
and empowers entrepreneurs to really understand the numbers behind their business.
So it's not just about like crunching numbers. It's about
Mhm.
like gaining that financial literacy and
Yes.
using that knowledge to make smarter decisions.
Absolutely.
I like it. Okay, next up we have The E-Myth Revisited by Michael E. Gerber. This one seems to be like more big picture focused.
Yeah, it tackles those common misconceptions and pitfalls that often lead to small business failure. And, a big part of that is poor financial planning.
Yeah, for sure.
So this book helps you identify those pitfalls and avoid them.
So it's like you're learning from the mistakes of others.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
it challenges you to think differently about building a business,
Yeah.
focusing on creating systems and processes that support long-term growth and profitability.
Makes sense. Okay, last but not least, we have Simple Numbers, Straight Talk, Big Profits by Greg Crabtree. I love that title. It's so straight to the point.
I know, right?
So what's this one all about?
It's all about simplifying financial management.
Okay.
Cutting through all the jargon
Uh-huh.
and focusing on the key metrics that really drive profitability.
Awesome. So it's perfect for those who might be a little bit intimidated by those more complex financial concepts.
Exactly.
Okay, wow, that is quite the reading list.
Yeah.
I'm definitely adding a few of these to my must-read list,
Me too. There's always something new to learn.
especially when it comes to managing your business finances.
Right.
So we've explored those common cash flow problems that new businesses face. We've uncovered some actionable solutions, and we've even got some valuable book recommendations. So what stands out to you as like the most important takeaway for our listeners today?
Well, I think what's really fascinating is that all of these challenges and solutions are interconnected. It's not just about numbers.
Right.
It's about mindset planning and making smart decisions. By understanding those underlying principles and proactively managing your finances, you can really set your business up for success.
Yeah, it's like putting together a puzzle. When you understand how all those pieces fit together, from forecasting and budgeting to managing those expenses and optimizing inventory, it all creates this really solid foundation for your business.
Exactly. Remember, every business is unique.
Right.
So the key is to really understand the fundamental principles, adapt those strategies, and find what works best for your specific situation.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to experiment and adjust your approach as you learn and grow.
That's such a great point. And it kind of brings us to our final thought for our listeners today. If you're feeling inspired by this deep dive, what's one small step that you can take this week to improve your business's cash flow?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a major overhaul. Even a small change can make a big difference over time.
Absolutely.
We encourage you to take action and see the positive impact it can have on your business.
And we'd love to hear about your progress.
Yeah. Connect with us on social media. Send us an email. We're always here to continue the conversation. Until next time, may your cash flow be ever in your favor.
And may your entrepreneurial journey be filled with success and fulfillment.
We'll see you on our next deep dive.